Mind over matter, where clarity, courage, and conscious living take center stage. Tonight's guest is the brilliant Arlene Cohen Miller, work life balance and harmony coach, certified holistic counselor, meditation facilitator, and founder of Jewel Consultancy. With a powerful blend of legal acumen and spiritual wisdom, Arlene helps high performing women and professionals in tech to create a life that feels as good as it looks, aligned, grounded, and truly fulfilling. If you're tired of chasing balance and ready to live with harmony, this conversation is your new starting point. So, Arlene, we hear work life balance everywhere, but you use the term work life harmony. What's the key difference and why does it matter?
Well, it just feels like when we just say work-life balance is incomplete because it feels like the work-life balance has just been used so much. And when we're balancing things, it gives the idea that we can actually get to a place that we are balanced. And I don't really believe that that's true. I think that we're all works in progress, that we need to be flexible and adaptable in what's going on in our lives to really achieve, that place of harmony. And harmony is not a place of perfection. It's just a place where we feel more content, more calm, more self assured inside with whatever is going on in our life. So, yes, we probably do have a little bit more balance because we're setting our priorities. We're doing what's important first. We're noticing where we're wasting our time. Maybe we have some extra things to help us out to save time. But it's that harmony that sort of brings in the heart. It brings in more of that calm assurance. It brings in more of that self acceptance so that we're actually not just getting our lives more manageable, but we're actually enjoying our lives.
Makes sense. So, can you share a moment in your own journey when balance broke down and harmony became your North Star?
Well, I think it was more a process and not like an aha moment because, I had to really, as most people do, there's lots of changes in your life. For example, when I started my own law firm when I was 29 and I found out that I was pregnant right away, I had to make a lot of adjustments. It wasn't just me anymore. There was a child on the way. So I had to make adjustments in how I was harmonizing my life, how much work I did, how I, was going to take care of him once he was born. And, other things happened in my life. I sold my practice and I ended up moving and buying into another practice across the country. And so at that time I had a lot of things to manage, how to sell everything, how to get things moved, how to transport, how to take care of my son, in the move in the process. So I feel like we're always works in progress, and there's like no exact point when we get there. We're always moving towards there. But I think that the more we practice, bringing things in our life that can harmonize things, that can make things easier for us, whether it's, a tribe of people around us that support us, or people that like to do similar things to us, or people that can support us on our journey, or it's simply, finding ways and doing things that make our hearts sing in addition to the regular things we have in our life. There's always a way to bring in a little bit more harmony. So I really can't give people like a magic wand where something happened and everything was all harmonized in my life. But I can tell you that when that is our focus and we're focused on bringing in, well, how can I bring more joy, more harmony? What do I need to let go of? What's not important? What are my priorities? And we ask ourselves those questions and we act on them. If we don't really know, maybe we get a good advice from a friend or a counselor or something. We're going to be able to experience it more and more.
That shift from juggling to interrogating is the difference between burnout and brilliance.
Yeah. Yeah, because one way we're just focusing on, what we don't have and how we don't have enough time. And the other way we're focusing on what we're moving towards and how we can achieve more of that in a way that works for us, works for the people that are under our care, works for the people that, we love in our lives. So, and in what our responsibilities are in terms of work. So it's a whole different mindset. And, of course, what we focus on is what we get more of in our lives. So the more we're focusing on, creating that harmony and creating that balance, not in a head way, but in a way that works for us and the other people that are under our charge. I think the more we have personal satisfaction in our life and we let go of or delegate what others can do and what really is not a priority for us.
Absolutely. So, you're also a certified meditation facilitator. How do mindfulness and emotional regulations play into creating a life that works and feels right?
Well, mindfulness is really key because oftentimes when we get overwhelmed or anxious, we're just sort of like running around with the chicken head cut off. We have so much to do and we're moving really fast and we're not really breathing because when we go into that fight or flight mode, we tend to breathe very shallow, which tells our body that we're being chased by a bear when we really need to slow down and breathe deeply and oxygenate our bodies and bring ourselves back into that rest and relax mode. So it's important in this very hectic world where we do wear a lot of hats, we do have a lot of plates spinning, that we know how to get things done in a very organized, even loving kind of way without putting ourselves into overwhelm. Because no matter how efficient we are, if we have a to-do list that's way too long for what we can accomplish in a day or a week, we're going to put ourselves into stress mode. So it's important, number one, to know what we can get done during a day and to be grateful and to celebrate those successes. And it's also important to have the skills and abilities to calm our bodies down. For example, one simple thing that we can do if we're getting really upset and wound up, is to just stop, breathe deeply, maybe just breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the nose with the out breath longer than the in breath, which tells our body that it's okay and we need to calm down, and we do calm down with that, and maybe just feel really grounded, like we have these roots, like we're a tree into the heart of the planet, so that we feel fully present here now, and we don't feel scattered all over the place. Find ways to visualize and feel ourselves fully present here now.
Absolutely. So, what's a quick grounding practice that listeners can try today?
Well, it's really what I was beginning to describe to you. And I know it maybe sounds silly to some people, but it really works and it's so simple. And so what I do is I just visualize from my heart that there's this column of white light. It's going down my body, it's going down my legs. And when it comes out of my feet, it's like I'm a tree and it comes out of these beautiful roots of light that go deep, deep, deep into the heart of the planet. And I really feel like the planet pulling on my roots of light so that I'm fully present in my body. And when I find myself doing that, especially if I can go out in nature and experience it that way, I find that it's just a way to pull myself together, literally, and be more fully present here now. And if I combine that with that breathing technique that I just shared with you, or even there's another even simpler one as well, where I'm just breathing into the nose and breathing out through the mouth and making like an ah sound. So like, ah, that feeling of just letting everything go. And that will also help us with those grounding and that roots of light to be fully present here now and in our body. So those are just two really simple techniques that your audience, your listeners can practice and see if it works for them. Because I found that when I do this, and sometimes, it takes 5 minutes or so to really begin to shift things around, I do calm down because I've made myself stop, appreciate where I am in my life, maybe think of something that I am grateful for and feel it, and then practice these two techniques.
So simple, yet so profound. Peace starts with presence.
Yes, you've got it.
So, as a coach, what are some common patterns or beliefs that keep women, especially in high stakes roles, stuck in overdrive or self sacrifice?
Well, it really feels like there is this kind of belief that we need to be perfect And there's no real such thing as perfect. And so we set these unrealistic expectations for ourselves. And we have a to-do list that could take us a week or more to do, that we're telling ourselves we can get done in one day, which puts us into panic mode, and we don't really do any job that well. So we need to step back and be kind to ourselves and know that we will get done. We need to make feel into exactly what our priorities are. What is the thing that we absolutely have to get done today? Even if we're dreading doing it, that's what we get done first. Then we acknowledge that success and celebrate it, and everything else is kind of like icing on the cake. So we really need to know what our priorities are and stop putting that needless pressure and expectations on ourselves that one person cannot possibly do. And another thing that we can have around us is like, a tribe, because if we are a working parent and maybe we have a partner and maybe we have other responsibilities with whatever's going on with our parents or their children or our significant others or our friends, there's no way we can do it all. So we need to find ways to delegate and to maybe just have other people that are in similar situations be a part of our tribe that we like and can resonate with, and that so that we can support each other so that we don't feel like we're there alone. One of the things I found out when I was pregnant and I had just started my own law firm is I just had a tribe of women around me that were in similar situations. They were working women. They had a lot of responsibilities, and maybe we would put our children in childcare together and go for a run or something, and then talk to each other and have that bond. So, however that works for you, if you make sure that you're not alone and you're doing things that you enjoy with your tribe while taking care of your children in maybe another venue or whatever it is that you need to do, we need to have those alternatives and joyful experiences as well, not just all those responsibilities.
100%. So, how do you help them rewrite the inner narrative?
So I guess in order to help people as a coach, I know that they have all the answers inside of them. So what worked for me and what helped me to shift might not be what works for them. And there are some things that we have in common. I can help them with the breath work. I can help them with the grounding. I can help them to look at their to-do list and maybe find ways to delegate or to do things in a way that they set priorities and they can have their life be more manageable, because lots of working women, even if it does cost a little bit of money to have maybe someone help you with the grocery shopping or clean your house or watch your kids a little bit, that kind of stuff is going to sort of free us up so that we don't feel like everything is on our plate. And also it's helping people to get that tribe around them and to really know, okay, what in addition to all my responsibilities brings in that singing heart, and how can I bring that singing heart to my life and my responsibility and the people that I care about. And part of that is self-care. We really have to make sure that we're not giving away the kitchen sink. We really need to make sure that we fill our own cup up with love, that we fill our own cup up with things that bring us joy, and not simply look at how we can give and give and give to other people. Because I'm not saying it's not okay to give, I'm saying that's fine, but we need to give from a full cup, which means that we need to be taking care of ourselves in the process. That it is a mistake to wait for your kids to be all grown up to start taking care of yourselves. We need to do that at the same time, or at the same time that we have a demanding job. Otherwise, we're going to go through a phase of burnout. So self-care, self-love is key so that we have the energy to give to what's important to us and the people that we care about in our lives.
That's so transformative. When we shift the story, we shift the standard.
Yeah, and we just need to give ourselves permission. And sometimes people come to me for coaching just because they haven't been able to give themselves permission. But if I'm modeling that for them, because I gave myself that permission in my life, and I can help them to see by experience how their lives feels different and more fulfilling, and they're more able to get done what they need to get done by bringing them that self-care and that self-love. Then they begin to buy into it and see how it can be really successful for them in their lives, and drop that feeling of guilt, and drop those feelings that, I'm not supposed to be doing this, which I feel that sometimes they get from, from family or from ancestors or from what's going on in the world, and give themselves permission to have a full, joyful life now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So your background blends law, coaching, and holistic counseling. How does that unique perspective help you serve clients in a deeper way?
Well, I think we're all a combination of all the experiences, that we have in our life. I'm not a practicing lawyer anymore. I'm still licensed to practice in Colorado in the United States where I live, but it informs how I can work with like professional business women or anyone in the professional realm, because I know what it feels like to be in those situations of responsibility. And so I feel like that's true for all of us. We've all had experiences and jobs and family situations and all kinds of things that we've experienced in our life. And all of that stuff comes together to inform the whole person that we are, and what we can bring to ourselves, the people we love, our jobs, and to the world. And so that's what I've been. That's what I've learned to do in my own situation, that I can share with others. And so I can model that for others, and so that they too can choose that for themselves in their lives. Because sometimes what I find is that people are doing really well at the family area, but things are not going so well at work, or vice versa, and there's no reason that it all can't work together. It won't be a perfect, it'll be a harmonization thing, but we can still step forward and enjoy all of it a lot more.
Mm-hmm. So, do you find that professionals are craving more meaning and emotional wellness now than ever before?
I don't know. I find that a lot of professionals, women, it's not easy, because there's so much going on in the world that feels difficult on top of the responsibilities that we have. And so I hope that that's the case. I really think it's a case by case basis. I feel that the people that I work with are finding that more, but it's always a choice, and it's an ongoing choice, because there's going to be, it's just not a world that necessarily always feels that supportive. And so we really have to learn how to experience that from within. And so that's what I like to work with my clients with, is that how to generate that feeling of harmony, and that feeling of balance, and that feeling of being kind and patient and tolerant with ourselves and others from within, and not looking outside of ourselves for it. Because if we look outside of ourselves in the world as it is today, they might not find it. So it's something that we can practice generating within and in the community of the people that we surround ourselves with.
Powerful. Success without soul is still empty. Integration is the update.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a process. It's not a perfect, and it's doable, as long as we don't expect there to be magic fairy dust that's dropped over us and everything just changes. Because like anything that's important to us, it's like if when I was a runner, or when I learned to ski, because I moved out into mountain country when I was age 37, it took a lot of practice, and practice makes permanent. And we're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way, and we just treat those as opportunities to learn and grow. And in that process and in that mindset, then experiencing life in a new way is possible, with more harmony, with more joy. But it's a constant choice that we're making, and it's a constant stepping towards that goal that we're creating for ourselves in our life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, your company is called Jewel Consultancy. What's the metaphor there? What does it have? to mean to live a jewel kind of life?
Well, I guess the reason that Jewel Consultancy came up for me, and it just sort of came to me as an intuition that I wanted to call my company that. And I realize the reason is that our life is like a jewel. A diamond has all these different beautiful sides, and they're all important. And that's who we are individually. And when we come together in groups, to support ourselves, we're all different sides of the jewel. And each side of the jewel is important. And each side of the jewel can be honored and loved and respected and brought into the wholeness of who we are. Because we all have a lot of different hats and a lot of different things going on in our lives, but we're not negating any part of ourselves. It's all beautiful, it's all important. And that's why my business is called Jewel Consultancy.
That's amazing. So, for someone listening right now, feeling stuck, what's one gem of wisdom they can hold on to today?
Well, I think one thing they can remember is that I always talk about working with your inner coach and putting the inner critic buckled in the back seat and saying, no, I'm in the driver's seat now. And people go, well, how do I do that? And I believe that we all have those gifts and skills now. We don't have to take them on or have someone teach it to us, because most of us, if we have a dear friend or someone we care about come and tell us all the things that are going on in their life, let's say they're just, it's like everything that's going on in our life, that's what they're telling us. What we do is we have the skills to nurture them, to support them, to care for them, to champion them. If they're really falling down a dark hole and they're only looking at the negative side, maybe to have a little bit of that tough love to help them get back out of that hole so that they can see their life in a different way. So we already have the skills and abilities to give that to others. We're already doing that in our lives. So all we have to do is start turning around and practice giving that to ourselves. And if some part of us says, well, that's selfish, that's not okay, that's the part that we have to tell, no, that's not the truth. I'm buckling you up in the back seat, and I am in the driver's seat now, the inner coach that I am. That part of me is in the driver's seat. And the more we pay attention to that part of us, and the more we practice and work with that part of us, the more it becomes naturally a part of who we are. And so just acknowledge and accept, this is a part of me I already have. I just need to practice it until it becomes a more natural part of my life.
That's beautiful. Our truest value is already within, waiting to be uncovered.
Yes. And I think that we don't give ourselves credit for that. We don't really see how much we give back to others and support others quite naturally. And that it's really simple to give it back to ourselves. We just have to drop all doubts. We have to drop all feelings that it's selfish or wrong or not right. And notice how different we feel when we fill our own cup with love in this way, that we actually have more to give to others. And we are much better at doing everything that needs to be done because we're not so stressed now. We feel more calm and relaxed and confident because we're giving those qualities to ourselves on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, Arlene, thank you for showing us that harmony isn't something we achieve, it's something we allow. And to our listeners, you don't need to be more worthy, you need to feel what already is. So, until next time, live gently, lead fully, and let your life be the most radiant jewel.